All right. This is a morning testimony. Morning testimonies are going to be what I experienced during the night or early morning, and just walk through the manipulations and the realities they've tried to implant in my head, the falsification of reality. Uh, I keep hearing people tell me how I'm going to be raped, I'm going to be tortured. I'm telling you, this is what they've been using to try to make me accept this persona they've created, this nastiness. And listen, I do believe that they will frame me one way or another. And I know that they are actually are excited that these things are going to happen to me because day in and day out, as they try to make themselves be this create this facade of like we avenging, we do this, we gonna do that, we did this for what you done, what you like. This facade of what they were trying to present themselves as has been day in and day out stopped because one, I know who put me in this program. Two, I know who they're working for. Three, I know who they've harmed and how disturbing these people are. And I bring that up over and over and over. I know this program and these people have done horrible things to some of the most vulnerable people. They know that I know that. You know, they're not scared of me. There's nothing to be fearful when they see me. They're scared to be seen by me for what they're part of instead of the fantasy that they created. They are trying to make themselves be something that they're not, and I'm not letting them happening. Like I'm not gonna let them live that fantasy they've created. They are trash that have been involved in torturing even children and women. They try to minimize it by calling themselves we're mean, right? Because they're like, oh, we're mean, we're gonna torture you. No, you're mean not only because you torture me, but you have tortured children and women, and you know that. And it's easy to do because you use directed energy that can be done remotely, so you don't even have to see directly who you torture. You're somewhere else watching that happening. So I know what they are, as much as they try to live their fantasy. And I know some of these people doing this to me have obviously done that to women and children. Some of them have been open about it. Others are trying to live their fantasy, or they try to distance themselves, which makes no sense. Um, and so they've been telling me how they are patient. They can't wait for the when the nightmare starts when I'm gonna be tortured and raped. And I'm like, listen, I whatever's gonna happen, I'm gonna pray. I'm praying to God to give me strength, but also praying to God to thank Him that I didn't have to do what this trash have to do. They don't even have to do it like what they ended up doing. These people are gonna find happiness in my torture because they've created this fantasy of theirs, and I've been non-stop putting that back to reality. This bottom feeders are just this is what being a bottom feeder means. You've created false reality. You're gonna find excitement in my torture as if that's gonna make your life any better. It's not. If anything, it's gonna take away more of your life, which I'm glad. I don't want them to live a normal life. I don't want them to go and live life, and enjoy life, and no, keep living this deluded life. My torture, my rapes, my whatever you're gonna do to me is not gonna make your life any better. And I'm glad that you're doing this. They are trying to compensate for the fact that they do so much horrible things to people around the world and want to make themselves delude that if this is going to happen to me, all this manipulation is true. All of this is true. Like these peripheral things, these stimulations, these weird things, this weird brain thoughts, all it because you see you're gonna be tortured, you're gonna be raped every day. You're delusional. First of all, you work for pedophiles. I did not write these articles. I didn't even hope for it. It's one person outside. When I went in the hallway, she's like, and I was saying something like, "You guys gonna get reimbursed," and she said something about hope for it, and I'm looking at her, where is it coming from? And I'm like, do you really think I need to hope for that? Do you think that these people here that I'm looking, do I need to hope for that? No. In the meantime, enjoy this. I understand the feeling of feeling like you're empowered. You can do all these things to my body from remotely because this technology, this DARPA technology, is capable of doing so much. And you can just watch me while this is happening. You can, and you can live off this reality you put together. You're just a bottom feeder for this. this program that does horrible things to women, and they will try to call them, claiming that they're, that's how delusional they were. They were saying at one point, they don't say that much as much as they used to. They used to be like, we at war, right? They use this directed weaponry onto civilians because they are at war. You understand? They were just at war with the just rationality, with logic. Really try to gaslight you into accepting this nonsensicalness. There's nothing a war like this. These people are just cowards sitting somewhere and just implementing this dark energy and don't even have to be seen. Just maybe the war is just staying hydrating, making sure those vocal cords are strong. So when you yell behind those doors, you can be heard. Using these childlike people, some of them are. I wish I would have felt this as I say that, put this thing, my finger there, and they try to do this disturbing. This like chubby overweight kid like that was just running, but when he was outside, he was talking. He or she, I'm not even 100% sure. Was talking in this menacing voice. Oh, he's hungry, and I opened the door and I see this like awkward kid. This is who these people are. Now they're gonna do a lot of horrible things to me. I understand that, but I understand that this is what they're supposed to be doing. Their job is to torment, torture a target individual. I'm the target individual here. They're gonna do this to me. I know who put me in this program. These people are the bottom feeders of these programs. Basically, they are implement and deploy this technology and these tactics to break people down. They are so nasty. So I wanted to start off with that to put things back in perspective. And with me, they have been doing this facade of feminism, which is such a fraudulent thing to do. Like, it's so disgusting. Knowing the amount of women they torture, they even try to bring up things that they have nothing to do with me, but the way I was perceiving it, or the way I thought things could have gone, or whatever, and then try to be like, you see, well, it's people actually in the program that is out here killing and torturing children and women to the foulest ways. Well, me, they're like, oh, but the way you thought, maybe if that was like, oh, Jesus, they live in alternate reality. And I see them just dumbing themselves down to at the level of no return. Now I understand these people are very much logic, like they are, and they're not stupid. They're as logical as I am, but they have to dumb themselves down into a level of almost spectrism. If I can see how obvious it is, they can obviously do the same. I'm not any smarter than them, but they just had to dumb themselves down. Some of them is even worse. Can you imagine a full-on analyst in actual, like, I can presenting some kind of reports, giving you like analysis, but all of a sudden have to dumb themselves down to the level of spectralism that is unbelievable, just to kind of try to make themselves believe this is makes sense. This is when you see how people are capable of really dumbing themselves down if they need to, and these people, whew, they are truly on that level, and that's because they can feel empowered, and they try to like compensate it in other ways where this technology has the ability to do so much. So to try to show that, oh, we're not dumbing ourselves down. Listen, I'm gonna say something before you say it. This said, and we see, like, no, this is why you're dumbing yourself down. This is why you sold your soul to pedophile for. Exactly. This is why you are willing to make yourself think in this stupidity level, at that level of stupidity, to block out reality where you know you're in a program that if not, you haven't tortured women and children yet. You know your colleagues have done that and will be doing it. They know this. They know this is not something different. And on top of that, I know who put me in this program. So when you come up with this facade of like we're dared, we're mean, no, you're trash, you're bottom feeders for this program, and I'm bringing that up, and you know who put me in this program. That's why you cannot say lead. Then I have to create a name for you to guys for you guys to be able to even say it. Yesterday, it's funny. I was in the hallway. Somebody was like, "You are Ali, then, right?" Because I'm making a name. Lee then is not a real person. There was this. I showed this assistant EA that was picking up kids when he was, in his 30s or whatever. I came up with a name instead of saying the name of that person. Now, this talk show making fun of him to being, these people cannot say his name. Now, maybe they can, but they're not saying it, and it's kind of weird. It's like, this is your world, right? It's your money, right? No, there's a reality, and they know there's things they cannot do or things that they are limited to do, I guess. or there's protocol of some sort. And to hear this man saying you're proud, you are a leader. It's like, listen, you see that? On top of that, you're filled with pedophiles. You know, now I understand this is not what their job is specific to destruction and tormenting, and pedophilia is something they do to break people down. They whatever it takes to break a man or woman down, they're gonna do it. And pedophilia will work almost all the time. That's why you see almost all target individuals are for to be to have this pedophilia thoughts of imaginations of something like that. And you hear this childlike people, with no shame. Hence, that's why they like to use these people. They're trying to go into whatever disorient me now. They're like, oh, her hands try to talk about me as a kid. Try to find ways to block our reality because they do pedophilia things and it's systematic. And so these people who call themselves, they claim that they are war, are willing to disorient themselves either at the same time while disorienting you and try to make you think of other things to try to make you accept these pedophilia things. Obviously, they're doing it. You know, I was listening to a podcast. I slept with that podcast on, and around 1 o'clock and one something, I hear this audacity. And they try to make me imagine so disturbing things. I hear this thing about something about airports, and then they bring me back to something they did to me when this in December I went to the airports, and it was always as always disgusting. Whenever there's a lot of people, especially this kid, they're gonna do some disturbing things. And matter of fact, they're forcing me to get some sexual arousal because of this. I'm in the airport. I'm walking and I'm looking up. It's just hard. Like I'm trying my best to just like because I know there's children around. I know this is when they're gonna do their pedophilia things, and so as I'm looking up, I'm like, okay, I need to. And mind you, I'm not by myself, so I'm trying to play it off like like it's normal. I'm looking up, and then I look straight, and I see a little girl, a little toddler walking around. They try to make me have this perception of this little kid's butts in this disturbing ways, a little baby butt. Like they try to create this baby, something adorable turn into something nasty and pedophilia. It's nasty, and I know it's what they do. It's so disgusting. And then I had to create this disturbing ways in my head. Is this little baby? But what would that do to me? But of course, they do these nasty things, and they want me to identify to this. They are disgusting, and they're like, "No, it is not." I know. What do you mean? I know what this is. What you guys do. Obviously, you repeating things is not gonna make me be. Oh, you know what? This is how I perceive things. This is how I perceive little babies, little kids like that. This is so natural. Of course, I know. They force you to have this disturbing perception, and the way you react to kids in this disturbing pedophilia was a little kid running around the child, a little toddler, just baby girl, just adorable as they get. And of course, me, they try to force me to look at this kid in a sexual way. Nasty. And they're like, you're nothing, right? You understand? These are the people saying you're nothing. Try to get you to accept this nastiness of thoughts that this technology can implement. Do you see how delusional these people are? They think they're the something and I'm the nothing. While they're the something that are trying to make you think about kids in this disturbing way and make you accept. I'll never let them live their fantasy. I know who I am. Now they're using this different tonality, right? They try to sound in these serious ways, and you see who's talking. You're so full of s. Oh, you're so full of BS. I see them like play with the kids, and I'm looking at them like, oh my gosh. They use this tone of the voice. It's like we know. It's like listen. That's why you don't want to be seen because you do these pedophile things. Sound as serious, as sensible as you want. You know I'm gonna see you for what you are. They they use all the different methods and they're really trying to sell it. And you like however you speak, however condescending you're saying, whatever you condescending things you say, they're like, oh, you are strong. No, let me use this person's voice, and if you see her, something else. So, you are strong. Do you think because you sound like that, I'm gonna be like, oh my gosh, this baby, this way I'm perceiving this baby is naturally happening because you tell me rot. I, I'm gonna be subscribing to this. These people are delusional. You are rotten. I've seen some of them look like crackheads. It's not even. No, I'm sorry. I don't even want to be so insulted like that because I think that's a little petty. I'm saying that they look like they've been in the house, working day in and day out, out of touch with some reality, and try to get you to accept them. I was in the elevator, one of this person, you can hear it, and you see her, and like you are not all the way there. You've been doing this thing for a little too long. I can see that. What you for, and then they want to have this part of my brain because no, they have these ways of deluding themselves that they want you to be acceptive of. Now I've said it already many times. They're gonna continuously do these pedophilia things. They're gonna try to say it in different ways and try to have these different tonalities to get you to accept these pedophilia ways of thinking. Never subscribe. This disturbing ways where this little kid, little let me repeat that because they hate when I say what's happening to my brain because they want me to identify with the things they do to me. So when I say when there was this little, and maybe I'm surprised there's nobody in the hallways right now because usually that's when they try to do nurse campaign because they want you to be acceptive of it. When there was this little girl running, little baby, little 3 or just running around, and I'm looking up, and then boom, I see this little kid. They start making me look at this little kid's butt in this disturbing ways, and they want you to be subscriptive to this. No, never. However, you work in my brain, manipulate these things in my brain. I know this is what you guys manipulate. You understand? You guys are bottom feeders. You are trash. You are low life, and you work for pedophiles. I'd rather die like this in whatever horrible ways I'm gonna die than live the way they live. This is why they're so excited about my torture. Because can you imagine? They are trying to sell this BS to me, to make me subscribe to these things. And I'm like, I'm not subscribing. They're using all the different tonality. I'm calling that out. It's like you are. There is. And I'm calling that as like obviously you're sounding like this because you think because you sound like this, I'm gonna be accepting of this. Typical gaslighting. But when you see them, you're like, oh my gosh, they're so full of shit. Sorry. Look at this trash. And to compensate, it's like, oh, we're gonna frame you. Yes. And they also tell me that they're gonna implant child porn on my computer, so you understand this. And they try to sound femme fatalish. There is, listen, you work for this program that my old employer put me in. You guys have been utilizing this pedophilia type of torture to break people down. Happens to be, which I don't know if it's a coincidence, there's a bunch of pedophiles in these agencies actually running those agencies in the high ranks in the different agencies. You guys, I understand, are just the bottom feeders in this. You're contracted in this. You're probably civilians who contracted in that. They use these childlike people who run in the hallways are using the different voices. It won't be. And I'm not trying to just be funny. That's how they sound. It won't be. You'll see what happened. You'll see. Like I'm like, okay, you've seen a movie where the bad person is supposed to speak like that in a menacing way. I understand torture will be happening, but I know what kind of person you are, so I see you for what you truly are. So to all my target individual, don't subscribe to this. Earlier they were doing this thing with my mouth. They do this thing with my tongue. It's so disgusting. Where they've tried to move my tongue in these disturbing ways. Now listen, I'm an adult man. Sorry, I'm an adult person who is straight and think of sexual things, including women, right? They have tried to rewire this into children. And so they do this thing with my tongue, right? Which now I always think of the pedophilia things they do. They have connected with the pedophilia things. So I could be wanting to watch something and then some all of a sudden they make me move my tongue in a weird way in my mouth. And it feels so disgusting. Because they do these things where they kind of connected with these pedophilia things they do. It's disgusting. They rewire. For example, my lips. I feel uncomfortable to put my lips in my mouth. Like they've done so because they connect things into some pedophilia things. Even at one point, the food I was eating made me feel uncomfortable. They will connect it to some pedophilia things they do. They just rewire you in these disturbing ways and want you to subscribe to it. And they're like, "Oh, you're so smart. Oh, you're smart." Huh? I was like, "Oh, Jesus." You have this childlike and sounding person, the other one who wants to live in her like femme fatale fantasy when she talks. She Trash. And then you have these men that try to sound even like they sound even worse than these others. They are the worst. Like they sound the worst. It's just humiliating. Um, and it's just nasty. And they're like, "Oh, but black girl, remember what you does?" Like, listen, I, I know what you guys do. I know. I know you guys torture children and women, and I know you do the perfect type of torture. Stop trying to talk about me as a child and think that I'm going to subscribe to what you're doing to me today. You guys do these pedophilia things. It's been said by many, and many others will say they're trying to go into any ways to disorient me. They are trying to make you be something that you're not, and you'll never be. But it's constantly happening where my brain is rewired, manipulated until I die. I was one asking myself, what's worse, these psychological manipulations and disturbing thoughts that they implant in my brain and the way they just do this back and forth, or like actual torture? I don't know. The pain of torture is one thing. Is of course I'm sure it's gonna be crazy, but the psychological manipulations is like it's just like I don't know. I don't know. Maybe like physical pain can stop these thoughts that they've implanted in this, but it's just disgusting. But you gotta be strong. You gotta be strong, and you gotta be understanding that these people are just the weakest of the weak. No matter how they sound, they could be the little children just sounding like the, "Oh, you're strong." See who's talking. Oh my gosh. You're like, you're embarrassing. This is embarrassing. That's why they don't like to be seen. They like the mystique of how they sound versus what they actually look like. So to all my target individuals, stay strong. I'm gonna do my best till my last breath, and I know that there's many things coming to me in the sense that they're gonna frame me, they're gonna do this, they're gonna do that. So that's why I've continuously make videos and to say what I need to be said, to say what needs to be said till I can't say it. So when things happen to the point where I can't say anything, I feel like I've said everything, and I can deal with whatever I need to deal with in an honorable way and dignified way. So to all my target individuals, stay strong.